Hello. Um, my name is Jacob William Hobbs, or Jacob W. Hobbs, or Jake, if you want to be informal. Um, Welcome to my 69th episode on the Wikipedia audiobook series that I'm currently doing. Today, I thought we would talk about the North American Man Boy Love Association, or NAMBLA for short. Um, I stumbled upon this around 2 days ago, and I've garnered a bit of an interest in this field. So, uh, I'll begin the audiobook on the North American Man Boy Love Association, or NAMBLA for short. Um, so, but before we begin on what essentially is a pedophilia Wikipedia page for an organization. Spoilers. Yeah. Uh, Please like, uh, smash subscribe, uh, and uh, uh, and share the video. I'm sure your friends would love to know about the North American Man Boy Love Association, or NAMBLA for short. It's an interesting read. It's an interesting topic. I really like it, and yeah. Enough dilly dallying. I think it's time we begin. The North American Man Boy Love Association, or NAMBLA, is a pedophilia and pedastry. I'm not familiar with that term. Pedastry. Ped, Pederasty or pederasty is a sexual relationship between. Okay, so it's just another word for pedophilia. So it's a pedophilia and pedophilia advocacy organization in the United States. It works to abolish age of consent laws criminalizing adult sexual involvement with minors, and campaigns for the release of men who have been jailed for sexual contact with minors that did not involve what it considers coercion. The group no longer holds regular national meetings, and as of the late 1990s, to avoid local police infiltration. The organization discouraged the formation of local chapters. There's a full stop there. Around 1995, an undercover detective discovered there were 1,100 people on the organization's rolls. NAMBLA was the largest group in international pedophile and child emancipation, an international pro-pedophilia activist organization. Since then, the organization has dwindled to only a handful of people, with many members joining online pedophilia networks, according to Xavier von Erich, director of operations at the anti-pedophilia organization Perverted Justice. As of 2005, a newspaper report stated that NAMBLA was based in New York and San Francisco. Uh, I will, as you know, in my series, every time we go through the different sections of the Wikipedia page, I put forth my thoughts on the current section we're at every time I read past it and I end it. Now, there are a lot of things to unravel here. First of all, they're exercising their free speech, for starters. Um, if they want to advocate for pedophilia and pedastry, or pedophilia again, I'm that it's a free country. They can, if they want to do that. Um, I don't fuck kids. Uh, I would like to reiterate. However, however, anyway. Um, Now, I do have some problems with the phrase perverted justice. Um, that title seems to elucidate or elude that justice has sort of some sexual reward aspect to it. I don't think that's really appropriate for such a title. It just doesn't seem right to associate that sort of thing with justice, perversion. what I'm talking about. But aside from that, I don't really have any qualms with this. It all seems pretty 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 tame to the history. Events such as Anita Bryant's 1977 Save Our Children campaign and a police raid on the Toronto area newspaper The Body Politic for publishing Men Loving Boys Loving Men set the stage for the founding of NAMBLA. In December 1977, police raided a house in the Boston suburb of Revere. 24 men were arrested and indicted on over 100 felony counts of the statutory rape of boys aged 8 to 15. Suffolk County District Attorney Garrett H. Byrne found the men had used drugs and video games to lure the boys into a house, where they photographed them as they engaged in sexual activity. The men were members of a sex ring. Byrne said the arrest was the tip of the iceberg. Commenting on this issue, Boston Magazine described NAMBLA as the most despised group of men in America, which was founded mostly by eccentric boy-loving leftists. The Boston Boys Committee, a gay rights organization, was formed in response to these events, which they termed the Boston Witch Hunt, allegedly in order to promote solidarity amongst gay men, saying in an official leaflet that the closet is weak. There is strength in unity and openness. NAMBLA's founding was inspired by this organization. It was co-founded by historian David Thorstad. In 1982, a NAMBLA member was falsely linked to the disappearance of Etan Pants. Although the accusation was groundless, the negative publicity was disastrous to the organization. NAMBLA published a book, A Witch Hunt Foiled, the FBI versus NAMBLA, in which documented these events. In testimony before the United States Senate, NAMBLA was exonerated from criminal activities. It said, "It is the pedophile with no organized affiliations who is the real threat to children." Mike Eccles, the author of I Know My First Name is Stephen, infiltrated NAMBLA and recorded his observations in his book, which was published in 1991. Eccles published the names, addresses, and telephone numbers of 80 suspected NAMBLA members on his website, which led to the death threats being made to people who were not members of the organization. Onel R. Soto, a San Diego Union Tribune writer, wrote in February 2005, "Law enforcement officials and mental health professionals say that while NAMBLA's membership numbers are small, the group has a dangerous ripple effect through the internet by sanctioning the behavior of those who would abuse children." And there we go. That was a pretty long section. So, what to unpack? Well, I guess we can begin with the founding of it, NAMBLA. Early Canadian movements obviously inspired this. So we can go ahead and say that NAMBLA is a Canadian project, national project that the Canadians made. But they just decided to pin out the Americans, and it sounds an American thing. Anyway, getting a bit into a theory there, so I'll stay away from that. Something else I like to praise here is this quote right here. It's quite an eye opener, I should say. "The closet is weak. There is strength in unity and openness." So what he's trying to say there is that through teamwork, gays can create an apparatus of which they can become more gay by being united and open, of course. That is the general gist of it I'm getting from. So the answer was NAMBLA, naturally. If we go further down here, we also have another quote I would like to, emphasize here. "It is the pedophile with no organized affiliations who is the real threat to children." Because we all know an organized pedophile is less dangerous than an unorganized pedophile. The ILGA controversy. In 1993, the International Lesbian and Gay Association achieved United Nations consultative status. NAMBLA's membership ILGA drew heavy criticism and caused the suspension of ILGA. Many gay organizations called for the ILGA to dissolve ties with NAMBLA. Republican Senator Jesse Helms proposed a bill to withhold US $119 million in UN contributions until US President Bill Clinton could certify that no UN agency grants any further status to organizations that condoned pedophilia. The bill was unanimously approved by Congress and signed into law by Clinton in April 1994. In 1994, ILGA expelled NAMBLA, the first US-based organization to be a member, as well as the Wikipedia and Project Truth, because they were judged to be groups whose predominant aim is to support or promote pedophilia. Although IGLA replaced NAMBLA, the UN reversed its decision to grant ILGA special consultative status. Repeated attempts by ILGA to regain special status with the UN succeeded in 2006. Partially in response to the NAMBLA situation, Gregory King of the Human Rights Campaign later said, "NAMBLA is not a gay organization. They are not part of our community, and we thoroughly reject their efforts to insinuate that pedophilia is an issue related to gay and lesbian civil rights." NAMBLA said, "Man-boy love is by definition homosexual, that the Western homosexual tradition from Socrates to Wilde to Guide, and many non-Western homosexualities and many non sorry, I'm having a bit of a reader's block. And many non-Western homosexualities from New Guinea and Persia to the Zulu and the Japanese were formed by pedastry." Still don't know how to say that word, but it's pedophilia. Just reading off the script. That men and boy lovers are part of the gay movement and central to gay history and culture, and that homosexuals denying that it is not gay to be attracted to adolescent boys are just as ludicrous as heterosexuals saying it's not heterosexual to be attracted to adolescent girls. It's quite a bit to unpack. First of all, we'll start with the honorable mention, of course, Bill Clinton. It is probably the only policy decision that he ever made that had some effect, positive effect. Now, I'm not sure if I pronounced this correctly. I'll try again though, because I'm thinking it's the is it the no no it could be Vietnamese, yeah, maybe, as well as Veragin Makjin. No, I'm putting too much luck on it. Veragin Makjin. No, it's Norwegian. I don't know. Veragin Makjin. No, that's just a Chinese Norwegian blend. Anyway, we'll continue down here, and we will say that well, when Gregory King rejected the notion, this preposterous rejection he made, that NAMBLA is not a homosexual organization. Well, NAMBLA is an organization that quote, man-boy love is the predominant theme in NAMBLA. So by definition, it is homosexual. And they even back it up with the resident NAMBLA scholar, the Western homosexual tradition from Socrates, the Greek philosopher, to Wilde, someone I'm familiar with, but I would love to read in one of my other episodes, Wilde, to Guide. And then, there are many different Western homosexualities, like New Guinea, Persia, and the Zulu even, and the Japanese. So clearly, I think they've got a point. I mean, they clearly backed it up. I mean, this is quite intellectual from NAMBLA here. But the last thing uh, I'll take a look at is this last quote here. It's a bit of a big, long one. If I could just highlight that. There we go. Homosexuals denying that it is not gay to be attracted to adolescent boys are just as ludicrous as heterosexuals saying it's not heterosexual to be attracted to adolescent girls. And now you see, he raises a good point because there's no issue with that. He's just stating the truth. Um, it is, you know, to try and say it's not gay to love adolescent boys is, yes, indeed, you know, to say that it's not heterosexual to be attracted to adolescent girls. There's nothing wrong there. Curly versus NAMBLA. In 2000, a Boston couple, Robert and Barbara Curley, sued NAMBLA for the wrongful death of their son. According to the suit, defendants Charles James and Salvatore Siccardi, who were convicted of murdering this Curley's son Jeffrey, stalked, tortured, murdered, and mutilated his body on or about October 1st, 1997. Upon information and belief immediately prior to said acts, Charles James accused NAMBLA's website at the Boston Public Library. The lawsuit said NAMBLA served as a conduit for an underground network of pedophiles in the United States who used their NAMBLA association and contacts therein and the internet to obtain and promote pedophile activity. James wrote in his diary, "This was a turning point in the discovery of myself. NAMBLA's bulletin helped me to become aware of my own sexuality and acceptance of it." Citing cases in which NAMBLA members were convicted of sexual offenses against children, Larry Fasoli, the attorney representing the Curleys, said the organization is a training ground for adults who wish to seduce children, in which men exchange strategies to find and groom child sex partners. Frizzoli also said that NAMBLA has sold on its website the rape and the rape and escape manual, which gave details about the avoidance of capture and prosecution. The American Civil Liberties Union stepped in to defend NAMBLA as a free speech matter. It won a dismissal because NAMBLA is organized as an unincorporated association rather than a corporation. John Reinstein, director of the ACLU pick a fucking state name that actually makes Massachusetts, said although NAMBLA may extol conduct which is currently illegal, there was nothing on its website that advocated or incited the commission of any illegal acts, including murder or rape. A NAMBLA founder said the case would break our backs even if we win, which we will. Media reports from 2006 said that for practical purposes, the group no longer exists, and that it consists only of a website maintained by a few enthusiasts. The Curleys continued the suit, such as a wrongful death action against individual NAMBLA members, some of whom were active in the group's leadership. Targets of the wrongful death suits included NAMBLA co-founder David Thorstad. The lawsuit was dropped in April 2008 after a judge ruled that a key witness was not competent to testify. Alright, so we have a bit to unpack there as well. I keep my comments short because it's an audiobook. I don't want to fill it up with just myself. However, I will just point to this one informative piece of media that NAMBLA was so generous to help people help me to become aware of my own sexuality and acceptance of it. The Rape and Escape Manual. The Rape and Escape Manual. The Rape and Escape Manual. That's a clever rhyme right there. If I ever see one, I would. It's almost I would just, just for that itself, I would forgive them of all wrongdoings. The Rape and Escape. So, I mean, with that piece of informative uh, brochure that they happen to give to these people who want to find their true self, their true pedophilic ambitions, and it seems that this lawsuit is completely unfounded, and NAMBLA is just helping people find their true selves. I mean, that's what I took away from this section. I don't know if anyone took, another reasonably justified taking away from this. But that's my piece. If I were to speak in American. Anyway, support. Allen Ginsberg, poet and father of the Beat Generation, was an affiliated member of NAMBLA, claiming to have joined the organization in defense of free speech. There we go. That's what they're doing. Ginsberg said, attacks on NAMBLA stinks of politics, witch hunting for profit, humorlessness, vanity, anger, and ignorance. I'm a member of NAMBLA because I love boys too. Everybody does, who has a little humanity. He appeared in Chicken Hawk, Men Who Love Boys, produced and directed by Adi Seidman, a documentary in which members of NAMBLA gave interviews and presented defenses of the organization. Pat Khalifa argued that politics played an important role in the gay community's rejection of NAMBLA. Khalifa has since withdrawn much of his earlier support for the association, while still maintaining that discussing an issue does not constitute criminal activity. Camille Pagila, feminist academic and social critic, signed a manifesto supporting the group in 1993. In 1994, Pagila supported lowering the legal age of consent to 14. She noted in a 1995 interview with pro-pedophilia activist Bill Adrienne, pro-pedophile Bill, I fail to see what is wrong with erotic fondling with any age. In a 1997 Salon column, Pagila expressed the view that male pedophilia correlates with the height of a civilization, stating, I have repeatedly protested the lynch mob hysteria that dogs the issue of man-boy love. In Sexual Personae, I argued that male pedophilia is intricately intertwined with the cardinal moments of Western civilization. Pagila noted in several interviews, as well as Sexual Personae, that she supports the legalization of certain forms of child pornography. She later had a change of heart on the matter. In an interview for Radio New Zealand's Saturday morning show conducted on April 28, 2018, by Kim Hill, Pagila was asked, are you a libertarian on the issue of pedophilia? To which she replied, in terms of the present day, I think it's absolutely impossible to think we could reproduce the Athenian code of pedophilia or boy love that we were central to the culture at that time. We must protect children, and I feel that very strongly. The age of consent for sexual interaction between a boy and an adult man is obviously disputed, at which point they should be. I used to think that 14, the way in some places in the world, was adequate. I no longer think that. I think young people need to be greater protected than that. And the history of arts. So, quite a lot to unpack there. So, support comes from all walks of life, men and women. And, yeah, I didn't know that there was a full-blown documentary on this. I mean, it's quite lovely. Anyway, I do want to say I've noticed quite a bit of I'm not sure if this is an accurate takeaway. Seems to be quite a few Italians in this whole serenade here. This ballet of North American man boy love associated in all of this. But I'm not one to point fingers. Um, if they get a kick out of it, then I feign support. In a 2017 protest at Columbia University against Mike Cernovich, an unidentified individual raised a pro-pedophilia banner showing logos from NAMBLA and some leftist organizations, all denying knowledge of any such cooperation. Fact-checking organizations consider this a false flag operation, as alt-right personalities were quick to repost the photo without caveat, and because NAMBLA had largely ceased operation by 2016. A similar 4chan hoax in 2018 connected NAMBLA with TED, following a controversial TEDx presentation, notably unvetted by the TED organization, referring to pedophilia as an unchangeable sexual orientation. Not really much to unpack there. I mean, yeah, uh, TED. Okay, well, I think we're in the boring part now. Opposition. The first documented opposition to NAMBLA from LGBT organizations occurred at the conference that organized the first gay march on Washington in 1979. In 1980, a group called the Lesbian Caucus distributed a flyer urging women to split from the annual New York City Gay Pride March. That was a mouthful. Indeed, because according to the group, the organization committee had been dominated by NAMBLA and its supporters. The next year, after some lesbians threatened to picket the Cornell University group, gay people at Cornell rescinded its invitation to NAMBLA co-founder David Thorstad to be the keynote speaker at the annual May Gay Festival. In the following years, gay rights groups tried to block NAMBLA's participation in gay pride parades, promoting leading gay rights figure Harry Hay to wear a sign proclaiming NAMBLA walks with me, as he participated in the 1986 Gay Pride March in Los Angeles. By mid-1980s, NAMBLA was virtually alone in its positions and found itself politically isolated. Support for groups perceived as being on the fringe of the gay community, such as NAMBLA, vanished in the process. In 1994, Stonewall 25, a New York LGBT rights group, voted to ban NAMBLA from its international march on the United Nations in June of that year. The same year, NAMBLA was again banned from the march commemorating Stonewall. Instead, members of NAMBLA and the Gay Liberation Front formed their own competing march called the Spirit of Stonewall. The Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation adopted a document called Position Statement regarding NAMBLA, which said GLAAD deplores the North American Man-Boy Love Association's NAMBLA goals, which include advocacy for sex between adult men and boys and the removal of legal protections for children. These goals constitute a form of child abuse and are repugnant to GLAAD. That year, the board of directors of the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force adopted a resolution on NAMBLA that said NGLTF condemns all abuse of minors, both sexual and any other kind, perpetrated by adults. Accordingly, NGLTF condemns the organizational goals of NAMBLA and any such organization. In April 2013, the hacktivist group Anonymous prevented NAMBLA's website from being accessed as a part of an operation dubbed Operation Alice Day. The timing of the attack coincided with Alice Day, a pedophilia pride day celebrated by a small group of pedophiles and their support on April 25th. In 2000, in New York, a teacher was fired from his association with NAMBLA. There were no criminal charges or complaints about his conduct in class. As I said, pretty boring section. No comment, I guess. Yeah, and then I'll just read through these last few sections here, and then I put my thoughts on it. Associated individuals: Bill Adrianette, journalist. He joined NAMBLA at the age of 15 and edited the NAMBLA Bulletin for 6 years. Well, Bill probably got a taste for what it is to be like in NAMBLA. Allen Ginsberg was a defender of NAMBLA and a member. David Thorstad was, of course, the revered founding member. And Harry Hay, prominent LGBT rights activist, Hay supported NAMBLA's inclusion in gay pride parades and publicly addressed their meetings in support of the organization. And Alan J. Horowitz, MD, convicted sex offender, ordained Orthodox rabbi, and psychiatrist. Well, I can tell he's qualified to give an opinion on this. He specialized in working with adolescents, graduated magna cum laude, magna cum laude, magna cum from Harvard University, and earned a PhD and medical degree from Duke University. Infamous for being the subject of a worldwide manhunt, Horowitz was known as the NAMBLA Rabbi. Because pedophilias, pedophilias can be religious too. Clearly shown by the Catholic. Anyway, in popular culture, in the South Park episode Cartman Joins NAMBLA, which first aired on June 21st, 2000, Eric Cartman is convinced to become a poster boy for the organization after befriending older men online. Well, as you can tell, this video has nothing to do in relation to South Park. Yeah, see very soon. Anyway, and here's references if you want to confirm anything in this video, or this Wikipedia article, I should say. There's also declassified NAMBLA files from the FBI archived at the Internet Archive. That does sound interesting. I might give that another read in my maybe in another audiobook series, because I don't think that's on Wikipedia. But anyway, yeah. That was the North American Man Boy Love Association. If you would like to see more of this content, please hit that bell, smash that subscribe button, and uh, uh, share the video to your friends. If this has been informative for you, please comment below what your position on NAMBLA is. Personally, mine is well, you see, it's a tricky thing. I see. It's hard to say this out front. I don't fuck kids. I must admit. I don't have intercourse with them. However, if as they said, I mean, if I can get that quote back up, I mean, if I could find that. Here we go. Yeah, this quote. I mean, it is the pedophile with no organized affiliations who is a real threat to children. I mean, it all ties back to that, I think. I mean, in how maybe you should approach this sort of thing as an outsider. Um, you know, because a pedophile does not organize, acts alone in his actions. That's less conspicuous and less dangerous than, a whole union of pedophiles in a politically organized party, and then, passing its laws through Congress, for example, and putting it in the Constitution. You see, it's because of that I think that organized pedophiles, yeah, is this just it's sacrosanct. It's sacrosanct. Organized pedophiles are less of a threat than unorganized pedophiles. You give pedophiles political representation. What are they going to do? Pass a few laws? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not. I just read out Wikipedia articles on the 69th episode of. What can I say? Anyway, I've been Jacob William Hobbs, and I would like to thank you for listening to this podcast the whole way through. And yeah, uh, happy travels. Uh, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. Um, Next week we'll be covering the final solution